Hi there. I am so happy you're here learning with me today. Let me ask you a quick question. Do you ever find yourself using the word but over and over again when you speak English? Well, you are definitely not alone. It's a really common habit. Now, but is a great word, sure, but if we use it too much, our English can start to sound just a little bit basic. So, in this explainer today, we are going to fix that. We're going to stop overusing the word but so that you can sound much more advanced, much more natural, and so much more precise. We're going to learn 5 better options that you can use instead. And don't worry, we're not going to rush and look at all of them at once. We'll go through them one by one so you can really feel exactly how each word works. Let's dive in. Our very first word is however. However, however, however. Try saying that out loud with me. However. This word simply means but, and we use it to start a contrasting sentence. It's a wonderful, simple B1 level word. I really want you to picture the feeling of this word in your mind. Picture two facts that just don't quite match each other. They're a little bit different. You want to place them right next to each other to show everyone that difference. That is exactly how however feels. Think about this example sentence. Listen closely. It was expensive, however, it was worth it. Notice the rhythm there? See how however goes right at the start of the contrasting idea? It starts the new sentence and it is always followed by a comma. That little comma is absolutely crucial when you're writing. Now let's put this into real life. Imagine this everyday scene. You just finished a really long, hard day at work. Your friend calls and asks you to go out for a nice dinner. You want to go, but you're just so tired. You could tell your friend, I want to go to dinner, however, I am too tired tonight. It really is that simple. Let's try 2 more easy examples. You could say, the weather is beautiful, however, it is quite cold. Or maybe, I like this shirt, however, they do not have my size. It just gently, easily introduces a contrasting fact. So, however is our nice, gentle way to say but. But ask yourself this, what if we need a stronger version? What word should we use when the contrast is actually surprising to us? Let's find out. For a surprising contrast, we use this beautiful word, nevertheless. 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 Let's break that down. It means but still, or even so. The character of this word is very strong. It feels like doing something despite having a perfectly good reason not to. You know? It's for those moments when an action really surprises you because the situation definitely should have stopped it from happening. Listen to this great example of that surprise in action. It was raining, nevertheless, we went out. Do you feel the surprise in that sentence? Normally, when it rains, people just stay inside. The rain is a very good reason to stay home. But this sentence clearly shows that the surprising action happened anyway, despite the bad weather. Let's picture a real-life scene for this word. Think about a runner in a long race. She feels totally exhausted. Her legs hurt, she's totally out of breath, and she has every reason in the world to quit. But she pushes through. You would say she was tired. Nevertheless, she finished the race. Amazing, right? Let's add 2 more everyday examples. The test was extremely difficult. Nevertheless, he passed with a high score. Or how about, the food was terribly burned. Nevertheless, he ate all of it. In every single case, the action is a big surprise. Now, I want to make absolutely sure you never mix these 2 words up. So let's compare them directly to find the key difference. However is just neutral. It simply means but. Use it to connect 2 facts without much emotion. But nevertheless is strong. It means in spite of that. It always shows a surprise or overcoming an obstacle. Remember, use however for a gentle contrast, and use nevertheless when you want to show a really surprising result. We are doing fantastic so far. Now, let's move on to our next idea. What if we don't want to show a surprise, but instead we want to compare 2 entirely different things inside just one single sentence? How do we do that smoothly? To compare 2 things, we use the word whereas. 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 This word is used to compare 2 different things inside one sentence. I want you to paint a visual picture in your mind right now. Imagine a long table. You have 2 totally opposite facts, and you are placing them side by side on that table so everyone can clearly see the difference between them. That side-by-side feeling is exactly what whereas does for us. Listen to this perfect example. I love tea, whereas she loves coffee. You see how elegant that is? We're placing my love for tea on one side of the table and her love for coffee on the exact opposite side. We put them side by side in one single sentence to demonstrate the direct comparison. Let's picture a totally relatable scene. Imagine a family you know with two brothers who are completely different. You're describing them to a friend. You could say, he is quiet, whereas his brother is loud. It is just a beautiful way to contrast them. Let's try two more everyday B1 level sentences. I like to wake up early, whereas my husband likes to sleep late. Or, dogs love to run outside, whereas cats prefer to stay indoors. It connects a contrast perfectly within one sentence.
Okay, so we can show surprise and we can compare two things, but what about a formal word? What if we're writing a professional email or maybe an essay for school and we need a formal word that just admits a very small downside to a situation?
For those formal moments, we use albeit. Albeit. Albeit, albeit, albeit. Albeit is a formal word meaning although, and it's used to add a small contrast. The feeling of this word is like quietly admitting a little negative point. You're saying something is mostly good, but you just have to admit one tiny problem. Because it is quite formal, you will mostly use this word in writing, or maybe in very polite business speaking.
Think about this example sentence. It was a good film, albeit a little long. This perfectly attaches a small criticism to an otherwise completely positive thought. The film was good, you enjoyed it, but you quietly admit one tiny downside. It was a little bit long. Imagine a brief scene where your friend asks to borrow your absolute favorite book. You say yes, but inside you really do not want to give it to them because you're worried they might lose it. You might describe this perfectly by saying, she agreed, albeit reluctantly. You agreed, but with the small downside of not wanting to. Here are two more easy examples for you. The hotel was nice, albeit expensive, or we had a lovely walk, albeit a bit cold. It is such a clever little word for adding a small exception. We have learned 4 amazing words so far, but what about the exact opposite? What should we say when we completely flip the facts and want to show that the total opposite is true? Let's look at our 5th and final word. Our final word is conversely. Conversely, conversely, conversely. Conversely means on the other hand, or it tells us that the opposite is true. Try to describe the feeling of this word in your mind. It feels like taking a situation and completely flipping it over to its opposite side, almost like flipping a coin from heads to tails. Listen to how this next example shows that beautifully. Eating well helps you. Conversely, junk food harms you. Look at how conversely connects two completely opposite truths. Good food equals health. Flipped over, bad food equals harm. It's a really powerful way to show a complete switch in the facts. Let's create one final everyday scene together. Imagine you are making a really tough choice at work. You have an idea to solve a problem. Now, the idea is very hard to do and it might fail, but if you don't try it, your business will definitely fail. It's a hard choice, but doing nothing is the worst option. You could say, trying to fix this is difficult. Conversely, doing nothing is worse. Here are a couple more simple examples. Summer is too hot for me. Conversely, winter is too cold. Or, speaking English can be scary. Conversely, staying silent means you never learn. Okay, let's take a breath and bring all of this together. Let's do a quick review showing the big difference between all 5 of these advanced words so the distinctions are completely clear and locked right into your mind. However simply means but, and it is neutral. Nevertheless means but still, and it is used when you are surprised. Whereas is for comparing two things side by side in one sentence. Albeit means although, and it's a formal way to add a tiny downside. And finally, conversely means the total opposite is true. As a general rule, use however for most normal cases, and use the others when you want to add precise, specific meaning to your English. Now let's return to that promise I made to you at the very beginning of this explainer. I promised we could stop overusing the word but. Listen to this wonderful mega paragraph with me. Instead of using but 5 times, we can say, the idea is good, however, it's costly. I like it, whereas he doesn't. It could work, albeit slowly. Conversely, doing nothing is worse. Doesn't that sound so much more advanced and intelligent than just saying but? Let's lock them in with a clear review list one last time. Feel free to follow along with me out loud. However means but. It's good, however, it's risky. Nevertheless means but still. She was tired, nevertheless she finished. Whereas is for comparing two things. I love tea, whereas she loves coffee. Albeit means although and is formal. Good, albeit a little long. And conversely means the opposite is true. Conversely, doing nothing is worse. These 5 words each have their own special flavor. Learning the difference between them is exactly how you level up your English skills. You have done such a wonderful job learning with me today. I am so proud of you.
To really remember these words, I want you to do 3 quick things for me. First, I want you to shadow this explainer. Go right back to the beginning and say every word and sentence out loud right after I say it. Second, watch this lesson once a day for 3 days in a row. Doing this actually beats the forgetting curve and locks the words deeply into your memory. And third, I have a challenge for you. Down in the comments below, write your very own sentence using the word however. I absolutely cannot wait to read what you come up with. Keep practicing, and I will see you tomorrow. But right before you go, ask yourself this. If changing one tiny linking word can completely transform how intelligent you sound, what other small habits are holding your English back?